The dark force controllers are certainly very sneaky in their endless efforts to keep us as their slaves in creation. They do not wish that we become more aware, that we recognize our real intent, and become a true being of real light with the ears and the real guides. However, due to free will, everybody, including the controllers, have the right to choose and decide whatever they want, even if that includes manipulation, subliminal programming, indoctrination, and suppression of others. For this is the nature of creation. Free will is in effect. But exercising that free will carries cause and effect consequences, and the effects are generally in equal proportion to the causes. Free will used to suppress and subjugate others will have those that choose such an option having quite the time of it, in extensive purgatory holding areas between lives, and then to find themselves in very unenviable lifetimes beyond that. Unfortunately, being in a state of disconnection from our real selves, and having little or no awareness whatsoever, will have individuals subconsciously agreeing to the controller's whims. As everything in creation now, unless it references the real universes and shares and promotes the all-is, references demise. Regardless of how good it may appear, all the systems, all the ideas, all of the indoctrinated literalism, all the systems of the earth are not only awareness restricting, but are catered toward the demise of the planet. For if there is no expansion of awareness, then contraction will be so, and this is reflected in the creational matrix all the restricted individuals reside within. It's all about agreement, and if the only agreement is to ideas that reference creation only, then no awareness can be gleaned, and a descending spiral into blackness the result. All the systems are a support network that maintain the Kalaum god's position. So, in essence, everything is an agreement to that, with little opportunity for awareness and connection to the true reality beyond the ideas and attachments in the psych realms. The only way to essentially be beyond the programming of the psych realms is to have a connection with the real self that lies beyond the creational matrix in the real universes. The personal self will still be programmed, as even with the connection to the ears, we will have a little self with its vehicles in each of the 5 creational levels. But we now are accessing our real self, the self that is with the ears. And as we switch our view and focus and stand real in the new nowness, the place where we are with our real selves, then whatever is bombarding and affecting our physical vehicle will not completely engulf us. This is effectively how those who stand real and connect with their real selves will most likely mitigate the effects of things such as 5G to a degree. If we still have a physical vehicle here, then it will suffer the effects. But as we do not stand completely immersed in the personal self only, we are not completely afflicted, as the vast majority undoubtedly will be. By that I am meaning how, as it is suggested, the 5G is a far more absolute control and programming tool, to the extent that very little, if any, conscious control remains. One would be like an utter auton, and perhaps locked also in a virtual world within the simulation that is the psych realms. But being in such a 5G prevalent, all-encompassing, blanketing field, and maintaining a connection with the real self, would have impossible to lock down individuals, as I have seen in a number of real side dreams. Future worlds where control via technology ought be absolute due to the extent of robotization. However, rebels are still in evidence, suggesting those with awareness and a connection to the ears beyond the programmable creational life levels. Although the robot dreams do also suggest how those with awareness have become embroiled in the fight, engaging the enemy and fighting the system, one which they helped to create, or they would not be there and having to experience the effects of. For along the journey to the ears will be endless ideas, and some will look very appealing indeed. But anything that isn't being isness, that isn't simply being and is, therefore must be something added to it, some idea or consideration, and as good as it may seem, if agreed to, it will have us the effect of, and we no longer stand real in the new nowness. Many people on their journey will fall along the road as they latch onto an idea or other, agreeing to something created, being tap-lined by it, and veering from their journey to the all-is. Very easy then to come across an individual, a supposed threat, something that the personal self feels must be engaged and dealt with, yet to do so has us then out of our real position. As we engage with the idea and add our own ideas to it, agreeing with whatever it represents, and that we must add ideas to it, and spiral off into a cause and effect maelstrom of future lifetimes. The objective then is to simply be and see. Every experience regarded with objective detachment, not battled with, not deliberated over, and that we don't fall prey to meeting an idea with ideas of our own. A little like the dreams I have, where I've been returning fire in a shootout with the dark forces. Their presence and activities that enter my experience an opportunity for awareness, for viewpoints and objective comparison, for recognition of the ears. What they then fire at me are in fact ideas that are demonstrated by bullets, and if I return fire, I am firing ideas back at them, and so I become involved. I begin creating ideas of my own, thoughts and emotions, and the result is I have removed myself from the new nowness, and stand now in cause and effect creation. I can realize my error, and return any time to the new nowness, and no cause and effect will I need to experience. But nevertheless, these situations will rear their heads. Far better then to not return fire at all. For in fact, standing real in the new nowness has far greater consequences for those attacking us, and so there is little need for our retaliation. We will handle situations far more effectively from such a position, for if we react, if we return fire, if we create thought and emotion ideas in response, we move into our personal created self, and likely to deal with situations less eloquently, and if we remain there, then the effects of our ideas are waiting around the corner. Better to move back into the new nowness pronto. The real guides, too, will be on hand to interject where needed, but they also are aware of how, if someone attacks someone who stands real in the new nowness, the consequences for that attacker are dire, and the guides have then the ability to deal with said attacker. On occasion, then, the guides actually allow an attack to take place. then they have the ability to take action. Some of their attacks seem to come through the manipulation of time in creation. With Ava as an example, they removed her momentarily from a time stream that caused her to fall and break her wrist when she was attempting to assist another. And the ways the dark forces will attack us are numerous and very inventive. If they can't intimidate us on the real side or on the physical, seems they will resort to more extreme tactics to discourage us from our recognition of our real self, of our assuming of our universal positioning. These, of course, are very blatant and obvious, and assuming our resolve is steadfast, we will brush off these assaults and chalk them down as the experiences they are. In fact, we can take encouragement from these. If the controllers seek to attack us, then it's apparent we are sailing true on our course, or they would not be so concerned. One should be wary then that if the dark forces realize an individual regards attacks as a validation of their progress, then it's even possible the dark forces will seek to not assail the individual for that very reason, to maybe instill doubt in the person's mind that perhaps they are in fact misaligned or not standing real, or maybe that a few subconscious personal intents have crept in that overshadow the real intent. After eons of keeping slaves restrained in creation, the slave masters are likely to believe in their minds they have every angle covered. They do in regards to anything in creation. Anything that an individual thinks is the way out, any spiritual, religious, or philosophical consideration, is now nothing but a taplining agreement securer. From the perspective of creational options only, they do indeed have every base covered, everything besides the references of the new presentation, that is, the only true light of the is, in a creation of darkness.